All right, folks, well, here it is at last. The Great Forest Park Balloon Race of 2022.
So there goes the hair balloon, the PNC balloon. Now, just to remind you all, when we say the Great Forest Park Balloon Race, we are not talking about a speed race. The way we do this is we launch a hair balloon, and that's the PNC balloon. And you can see the wind taking it sort of from that direction. Now, the balloons that'll follow will be called the hound balloons. And the hounds will chase the hare, and eventually the PNC balloon will land. They'll put a big white X on the ground, and then the hound balloons will fly over and drop bags of bird seed. We're very ecological here. They'll drop bags of bird seed, and the balloon... Oh, thought I was getting a ticket. And the balloon that lands, that's a birdseed bag, lands to the center of the, closest to the center of the cross, wins the race. So that's what we mean by a hare and hound race. Keep in mind, I think as I told you, these burners, when these balloons lift off, even when it's hot, they generate 1,500,000 BTUs an hour. And that's what keeps these balloons floating through the air and looking so beautiful. You'll see them start to inflate with big fans. Then once the envelope is full of air, they'll heat the air with the big burners, and then they'll begin their flight. So it really is beautiful. We'll try and keep you posted as to which balloon is going and who the pilot is. So hang with us.
Now, please feel free to watch the race show and the other activities that I had for this event, the glow and things. So the main image is the balloons on the ground, and the smaller image is the away cam. Yes, I'm going to have to figure out a better way to get good video of this, at least this type of thing. Use the wrong everything. Yeah, somebody's flying their drone all over the place. You will notice that the ground cam and the away cam do not sync. And I could have had them sync, but I had to cut a lot from the ground cam video, just for one reason or another. Also, the ground cam video, you'll notice in many instances, is accelerated. So the away cam is a real-time video. I did not speed up, not slow down, nothing like that. And of course, sometimes you can see the same types of things in both views. Now, I actually used 5 cameras for this. The footage for one camera, well, I use it for this event, the footage from one camera was not usable. So what you're getting is audio and video from the other 4 cameras here at one point or another. Mostly I had to cut the audio because it was copywritten tracks, or copy protected in one form or another. it's interesting to watch how some of this is done. And yes, you may see some of this footage. Actually, I guess it's just 3 cameras in this one. I put the footage from another camera into the show video. There is a fair amount of wind today, but obviously it was not a problem for some of the pilots of the balloons. Now, they are not required to take off. Each pilot has to make the decision for themselves, and they do, so they can decide, yes, we're not going to participate in the race this year, or they can go. Now, the pilots that went did not seem to have a problem. If you watch the show video, you'll see the skydivers also did not have a problem. I can understand maybe it was a little bit different for the pilots with the larger balloons. All these standard balloons, the traditional shaped balloons that is, it seemed like it was just the traditional balloons that were taking off. All the odd shaped ones and the oversized ones, like you can see the Piglet there, whatever it is, did not take off. They aired up partially, some of them, but that was as far as it went. A lot of balloons, the crew didn't even show up on race day, or they showed up but never unloaded their balloon. Obviously, lots of people taking video of this. It is a very popular event. The crowd is a bit diminished in size from pre-COVID. This is one of the largest and certainly the longest running balloon race in the United States. Maybe not on this particular day, but in general. So you can see on the ground how they're laying out the balloons and preparing them and things. And obviously they need to get a move along. There are a lot of people who, instead of coming to the field here in Forest Park, instead they'll park somewhere outside the park. And then when the balloons take off, they'll do what's called balloon chasing. And they'll follow the balloon and watch the balloon when it lands. And that's their way of enjoying this. And it seems to be popular with some people to do that. Got another balloon taking off here. You can see in the away cam we have a number of balloons in the distance. And we have some more. At least they're trying to air up. When you have multiple cameras like this, it's even if there's not something happening on one, you kind of have to keep the cameras from all pointing at the same thing. That KOX balloon take off already. Up, down, which is it? Got green and blue balloon. getting ready to go. You can see the away cam is somewhat ahead of the ground cam at the moment. We'll get there. Looks like we've got another balloon about to take off here. Now, before these balloons take off, I didn't have any way of knowing which way they were going to head. We've got one up. And it is moving up and away. It's kind of covering it up with the away cam, but the right side there is a blue and green balloon that's trying to get ready to take off. It looks like we have, if you look in the right middle of the away cam, looks like there's another balloon getting ready to take off. And it looks like we have one in the distance on the ground cam that's getting close. So at least it's not a total bust. Alright, now you can see the green and blue balloon. I apologize, sometimes the video is not as good as it could be. Juggling multiple cameras is difficult. The Camox balloon's getting close. You can see the dragon is partially aired up there on the ground cam. And we've got another balloon away. You can see by the KMOX balloon that, yes, there is wind. I guess there's only so many songs about, I would guess there are so many, let me try that again. I guess there are only so many songs about balloons, but they kept playing the same songs over and over and over and over again. As I said before, the entire audio presentation for this, everything on the stage, was pretty terrible. With the exception of the part for the parachutists. That actually, I don't want to take away from that. I think they did a reasonable job with that. Not great, but reasonable. It wasn't as bad as the rest. Is that KMOX balloon gonna go? They should have painted it as a bobblehead instead. Oop. Now, I don't see it at the moment, but sometimes they have staff that are on these ropes for the balloons, and sometimes when the wind moves, those staff just get yanked around pretty good. And then when it comes time for the balloons to take off, the staff that are holding the ropes will run over and hand those ropes to the pilot, and the pilot, I guess, ties them down to the basket. Oop, and the KMOX balloon is lifted off at last. Now, some of these balloons, the people seem a bit conflicted about who their balloon sponsor is. As I said in another video, it may officially be one name on it, but apparently somebody that's along for the ride wants to make sure that their hometown or something gets noted as well, or their school or whatever. So sometimes there's other small flags flying from the balloons, which is kind of humorous. Now, I'm sorry there weren't more balloons. I could have a whole picture a whole sky full of balloons for you, but it just didn't work out that way this year. I do have another video up of a prior year where there are more balloons. just kind of a short little clip, just as kind of a compensation for not having a better show on this particular video. At least we have, a handful up or so. Oop, got another balloon airing up. These videos, the footage I shot as you would see them. I did try to cut certain, the worst parts from the video, basically. But mostly it's as you would see them if you were there. See if we can get that video off the ground. Or sorry, the balloon off the ground. Getting close. Now, if you're there, they're calling liftoff the balloons. They tell you who the pilot is of each balloon as it's taking off and things like that. But, of course, there's music in the background, so I had to cut that track, unfortunately. Now, the audio is pretty terrible being there. A lot of times, it was very difficult to understand what the people were actually saying. Sometimes I don't think they cared if you heard them or not. They were just talking. Is that balloon gonna go? I think it's ready. And we have liftoff. It is away. If you have not seen a balloon race before, I recommend it. If it's at all possible for you, they can be fun. I'm sure they're not all like this. This is the 50th year that this balloon race has been run, and it's come a long way from where it was in some ways. It's not all better, but it's certainly not all worse either. We gonna get the lotto balloon off too? I think that's what that one is. I don't know if it was just for uncertainty reasons or wind safety reasons that a lot of the balloons were spaced out this much. Usually you have a lot more balloons going off a lot more closely together. I mean, They seem to literally be racing to get off the ground in other years. Not every other year. A lot of years, wind is a problem. Some years they postpone the start for an hour or more, and it was postponed for a while in 2022. Other years they reschedule the event or cancel it altogether. It's bad for everyone if the event is canceled or postponed. It's going to disincline people to attend, and affect sales of the various vendors. And of course, then if you reschedule, some of these people come from all across the country, and they may not come if it's rescheduled. They may only have that spot available, the one day or on the one weekend. So it starts with the Balloon Glow on Friday night, and then continues on to the race on Saturday. It's too bad we couldn't get more balloons on this particular day. Like to get some more off. You can kind of see the same thing in the videos there. Alright, so here we are. This is the last we can see of those balloons. And of course the people who do the balloon chases are doing their chasing. We'll probably have to do this again another year so we can get some actual good footage with a bunch of balloons up in the sky all at once. It's a pretty awesome sight to see. But hey, some balloons going marching by is pretty cool. I gotta tell you, when it's a little bit sparse on balloons, it really kills my mood for patronizing the various vendors there. I mean, it's not their fault or anything, but I'm just kind of done with the whole activity. I'm ready to go out and leave and beat the crowds. But there were a bunch of people as I left, and there were probably 50 people standing in line at some of the vendors. And of course, anytime you come to an event like this, you maybe have specific things for which you're looking. Sometimes these are the only places or types of events where you can get certain things. Fairs and festivals and things like that may have foods or products that you can't get other times or are more difficult to get. You can see just how many people are there. Even with the smaller crowds than there were, say, 3 years ago. There are still a lot of people there. Well, that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Have a great day.